The Locker Room, with all the sports news you need, live.
Okay, very warm welcome. Good evening to you, and very warm welcome because I believe it's hot outside. Actually, I've not been outside all day because I've been committed to the show. Not like other people just saunters in at the last minute and say, "Well, what we talking about tonight?" Andy's been cutting the grass. No comment on that one. Reagan, I don't know what you've been up to today, and Graham. You've just been making up the numbers as always, as well. So, no, welcome to the show. It's been nice to have a few weeks off and a nice couple of weeks to get back on the show. Well done to Reagan for presenting the show, by the way. The other week with Mikey, that was brilliant as well. So you've got me back. Sorry, I've not got any good news for you. It's me. So joined tonight by the usual sidekick, Graham Duffy and Reagan Stevens, and also are joined tonight because I think there's a wee game tomorrow though in Glasgow. It's Queen's Park against Maryhill in the Walking Football Championship. But also following that game, we've got a game at Parkhead between Reagan's away. Between is it something I said? Between Celtic and Rangers. So we'll speak about that. Get your comments coming in. We're live on YouTube and Facebook tonight. So we're here till 7 o'clock. Andy, how are you?
Doing well, Michael. Yeah, enjoying this weather. So it's nice to have a bit of sunshine, a wee bit of heat, makes a change. And as always, a pleasure to be on the show. Do enjoy getting on and having a bit of banter and hearing other people's views on Rangers and their own teams as well.
I must admit, Graham, right? See, when this comes to the end, this time of the season, it's near the end of the season. I always think it's funny, like where people goes to the football with their jackets on and heavy jackets and heavy jumpers, and they look outside. It's nice and sunny, you know. So it's right. It's right weird how the season goes like that, you know.
I know I'm going to the Hearts game tomorrow, so hopefully I'll be able to wear my t-shirt and shorts. Well, they're maybe not a good look, but hopefully.
And coming on at 5:30, we've got Sean Batty for a weather update for the weekend's games. Andy, we didn't know who Sean Batty is because he skates in Northern Ireland. He's basically a wee guy, stands beside a weather map and knows what he's talking about. But sometimes he actually gets it wrong. No, he's all right, Sean. Anyway, let's move on before I get into a bit of a soppy bubble, as I always do. We had a show on Monday night, Reagan, didn't we? It was a brilliant show about the Scottish Football Supporters Association. And if you've not seen that, it's still up on YouTube and Facebook. You can watch it. But it was a good show, Reagan, and we had decent feedback as well.
Oh, we did, Michael. It was good to see the numbers doing great as well, and it's just good to be involved and see the thoughts of Alistair as well because he was passing on so much stuff about different fans' experience.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so we are, if you want to watch that show back, watch it back, and watch the other shows we've got coming up in a few weeks. We've got the Euro shows, we've got the Cup final shows, and hopefully we've got a show on a small matter of VAR. I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but we're working on that, and hopefully it'll be coming before the VAR gets booted out of Scottish football. Imagine that we do a show on VAR and the next day it gets booted out of Scottish football. Wishful thinking, I would say that. Anyway, so let's talk about tomorrow's game then. Celtic against Rangers, half-hour kickoff. You know what's on the line. The league titles at stake as well, you would say. It's a must-win game for, Rangers, but a must-win game for Celtic as well. Andy, you were at the last game at Ibrox. I think you were on the show before the last game. But I don't think you were expecting that early start from Celtic. Maiga put the ball in the net.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't expecting that. I don't think anybody was, a Rangers or a Celtic fan, was expecting that quick a start or that quick a goal. But that's the way Celtic have played in a lot of games, and especially more so games against Rangers in recent times. They do come out of the traps fast and furious, and it obviously came to plan when Maeda scored early doors in the last game. But you know, call it a freak goal or whatever, the ball ended up in the net, and that's all that matters from a Celtic point of view.
Regan, before we talk about tomorrow's game, how impressed were you by that early start by Celtic, and then that kind of put Rangers on the back foot, you would say, for most of that game?
It did in the first half. I thought Celtic were great in the first half. Rangers couldn't deal with them. Probably could have been 4 or 5 up, but as Andy will tell you, see, as long as you can stay in these matches and try and build a bit of momentum later on in the game, which Rangers did in the second half after they got that penalty from Fabio Silva. But so when you look at that, I think the first start is a very good thing. But what I would say is, if Celtic got off to a fast start tomorrow, I think there'll be no way back for Rangers because of the home crowd, because of the whole atmosphere in the whole stadium, knowing what's at stake. So I think Rangers need to go into this game and think, well, we need to not sort of shut up shop, but be more defensive minded, I would say.
Graham, you'll be watching the game, hopefully not from behind the couch. Tomorrow, I would be worried if you're watching the game from behind the couch. Let's move on. What do you think of the game so far this season?
I mean, I think they've been decent games. Obviously, Rangers haven't won any of them yet. Celtic have won 2 and drawn 1, so Celtic do have the advantage. Being at Celtic Park, I think Celtic probably will just sneak it, but it's a massive game. There's no doubt about that. That's what putting the tackle in there. Can Rangers keep themselves in the title race? It's a big game tomorrow. They know what's at stake here. I think a fast start, Celtic fans will look for that. If Celtic get an early goal, it could be a massive, massive pressure for Rangers. I know that obviously during the week, Clement wasn't happy with the statement that Brendan Rodgers made about the whole having fun. I think he's taken that slightly out of context, though. I don't think Rodgers meant him by that. But listen, it's a big, big game. I think Clement's done a decent job since he came in, but tomorrow's huge. If they can somehow win that, it might give them a little bit of an advantage. But I just think Celtic being at home, I think they might just sneak it tomorrow.
I think I know as well as any other person, Andy, but I think the media has went to town on this one a wee bit because it was a kind of flippant comment that I made. I think it was after the game last Saturday against Hearts, and the media's blown up into this big, massive machine. And to be honest, it's all over the game tomorrow. Like if the comment was made, I don't think you would have heard about it this week.
Yeah, Michael, you guys know as well as I do, when it's Rangers play Celtic, Old Firm Week, the build-up, the media will pick up any slight thing to sell papers or put headlines on the social media channels and get reactions. I obviously heard the comments from Brendan Rodgers. To be honest, and I'm not meaning this sort of wrong way, but I think Brendan Rodgers has been, since he's been at Celtic both times, and probably also at Liverpool, he's been a wee bit arrogant at times. But listen, that's football. Arrogance is good. Arrogance is okay. What he said, he came out. He came out outside Celtic Park at the start of the season when he was unveiled and said, "I'll see you in May," to the Celtic fans, basically saying, "Let me show you what I can do." And again, that's arrogance, but you have to go and back that up, and that's putting his trust in the players that he has, and he's done that plenty whilst he's been at Celtic. But for the comment they made about we'll go out and have fun, fair enough. Again, In terms of what Clement said about it, there's no need to react from Clement of that there. Maybe you could have just said, "I'll move on to the next question," or "I didn't hear it," or fair enough. But listen, players say things, managers say things. The only way you can answer those questions or critics is on the pitch tomorrow. From a Rangers point of view, Rangers have to go and do their talking on the pitch tomorrow, and that's the only way it can be answered.
Andy, see, just on that, I
Yep.
mean, we obviously don't know because I'm not a manager, but do you think the fact that Clement did react to that shows the pressure that he's feeling? Because, like you said, he doesn't have to react to it, but the fact that he did, does that show that he's feeling a bit of pressure?
Possibly, Graham. I'm not sure. It possibly has done. And listen, Clement and Brendan Rodgers are both under pressure because of the two jobs that they're in. They're the two biggest jobs in the country. Respect the other clubs, but it is they are under pressure all the time. And again, that's probably why these weak comments or whatever reactions they get is because of the clubs that they're at, and they're picked up all the time by media and supporters. But possibly it's a wee bit of sort of pressure getting to him, but pressure's good as well. Some people can thrive under pressure, some people can fall under pressure. So again, go and answer that tomorrow and in the remaining games of the season, and answer that in the way that you hope to do in a positive way.
Good evening to Robbie Collins watching on YouTube. He said, "Good evening, guys." Going back to your comment, Andy, if I was Philip, come on, I would maybe post that statement up in the wall of the dressing room tomorrow, because I remember Georges Samaras, I don't know if you remember, he made a comment about we're better than Rangers, and then lo and behold, Celtic went to Ibrox and Rangers won, and I think they won the league that season. I can't remember. So, do you think that? And I suppose it's a decent point you make, Andy, because it's like, well, do your talking on the park. You can do all the talking like you want off the park, whether it's in the dressing room, training parks, pubs, or whatever. But when it comes to 12:30 tomorrow, Rangers make you show up and silence the fans, because don't forget that they're playing against 12 men, but 11 men. So, but they're playing against 60,000 fans.
Good to see you're honest, Michael.
Been a busy week.
No, no, I agree with you. And listen, that's football, that's sport. Players react to get a reaction, or sorry, players say things to get a reaction from fans. Celtic beat us in December at Parkhead. Callum McGregor was in the hospitality lounge saying that Rangers haven't played anybody yet. Maybe a wee bit of a cheeky comment, but again, it's to sort of play to your own support, and players do that, footballers do that. That's how you get fans on your side and stuff like that there. But again, Callum McGregor knew that he had to go out and give 100% that day to win the game, as the other 10 players for Celtic did, and then they obviously went and won the game. But football players should not need any inspiration, for games like tomorrow, or any game in that case, but especially a game against your fiercest rivals. What's at stake, as you've just said earlier on? Everybody knows there's a league title up for grabs. Celtic's 3 points ahead, a better goal difference. So, from my own opinion and a Rangers point of view, we must go there tomorrow. People talk about Celtic coming out fast. We have to go out and give it a right go and have a go at Celtic, because yes, you got to defend well and stay focused, but we have to take our chances, and we haven't done that in previous games against Celtic.
See, in terms of your team news tomorrow, Andy, would you start Fabio Silva? And what have you made of him so far?
Would I start him? Personally, no. Do I think Clement will? Yes. Because we've a lack of options in the wide areas, a few areas, but especially out wide. My opinion on Silva is that he was signed in January on loan with not a great goal scoring record. He's not an out and out. He's not a winger either. He's not an out and out goal scorer either. But some of his performance has been very, very poor. The goal last week, fair play to him, was a good goal. But the reaction, pointing to the back of his shirt and sort of giving it that there, and again, do your talking on the pitch. Don't react to fans like that. Fans can turn against you very easily when things aren't going well, and when you react like that, you don't get fans on your side at times. But tomorrow's a big game for everybody, but he has to show up, as does the other 10 players and subs selected for Rangers. But it's a big game for Silva. But again, the thing is, well, tomorrow will be the last game where it's home fans only, as we imagine anyway. Celtic, the Celtic players will be up for it in front of 60,000 home fans, and most likely a sunny day. So the Rangers fans have to deal with that. The cauldron of noise and passionate support from the Celtic fans, and the abuse and stuff like that. There, you're footballers, you're professional footballers. You got to go and focus on your game and go and try and win the game.
I saw a pundit. I was just going to say, Michael. I saw a pundit. I think it was yesterday. I think said that Rangers have got to stop McGregor. Could you see like maybe Lundstrom doing like a man marking job on him?
Sorry, that for me, Graham?
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. Sorry. Quite possibly. Again, Lundstrom. It's a massive game for him because he's had a couple of decent months, but overall he's been average or poor. This season it's a big game, and he's played in plenty of these games to know what it means. And yes, Callum McGregor makes Celtic tick, as does a couple of other players, but will Lundstrom be man marking McGregor? I'm not so sure. It could well come down to that in terms of the battle there in the midfield. But my main reason for the midfield tomorrow would be Dujon Sterling in there. I think you have to accommodate a place for Sterling in the midfield.
See, going back to your point, Andy, about Fabio Silva, right? You're coming all the way over from Northern Ireland every week, right? And you're paying good money to watch Rangers, right? And you're playing season ticket money, right? The last goal from game, I was basically embarrassing how he was diving about, but it summed up to me that I know you were at the game, and you wouldn't have watched the game back because you get beat. But Rangers fans were actually pointing to him saying, get up, get up, get up. So that's his own fans kind of saying to him, why do that for on a big occasion?
Just to correct you, I did watch the game back, and not only because of that, we did draw, we didn't get beat. So, no, at the time, at the game on the day, Michael, I was absolutely furious with a couple of Rangers players with their early performances, but especially Fabio Silva. Was it a penalty? Perhaps or perhaps not. It wasn't even that sort of thing. It was some of his antics, and I believe that Lundstrom and maybe one or two other players were having a go at him during the game because of it. There was one instance where the ball came over the top of his head and he put his hand up to reach it. Why not just go and chase the ball and keep it in play? It's just certain things that frustrates me with him. I think he is a good enough player. He's still young, but he's a good enough player. But in my opinion, and people say he's not worth 35 million, no footballer is. That's the price tag. A player can't choose his price tag, but I think he'll go back to Wolves and go out on loan. He'll be a lone player for a good part of his life, and as I say, I think he's got a bit of potential, but you have to show that and put the effort in.
Regan, Philip, obviously we'll come on to Celtic in a minute or two, but Philip come on said today at the press conference that we're looking forward to this game. This is a different kind of game. Do you know what he means by that? And in terms of like a run-of-the-mill game against, no offense, but like Ross County, Livingston, because you're going up a few levels here.
Yeah, I do agree with what he means, Michael, but I don't know if you've seen about his press conference today. He's talking about gladiators and all this stuff. And what are you talking about? I just think he's putting pressure on his players at the wrong time for me. I think he should just be coming on there and saying, right, we're going to go about our business, we're going to do our best, and we're going to see where that takes us. I just think he's saying too much.
I felt as though I was interesting as well, Reagan, because he says we can afford to go there to get beat.
I don't know if he did he say that, yeah?
Yeah, he said that, yeah.
No, well, I don't agree with what he said there then, because for me, I think Rangers have to win that. If Rangers lose the game, it's over. I think Andy will even admit that to you. It's well and truly over. Six
I would
points.
say so. It's obviously a must-win game for both teams, because given the club you represent, both teams must win every game, and especially the derby games against each other. But it's an absolute must-win for Rangers tomorrow.
Michael, I would even say that Celtic can afford to draw the two games, because you look at the Rangers game and the Kilmarnock game, them two difficult matches, but Celtic have 3 points clear. So if Celtic draw tomorrow and they draw on Wednesday, then there'll still be a point clear. All they need to do is beat St Mirren to win the title. So I don't see where he's coming from there.
How important is it for Celtic, Reagan, that this game's at home tomorrow?
I think it is important, Michael, because the last match, very difficult in front of the 50,000 Rangers fans. But see, when you're playing and you've got all that fans behind you, I think it can make a massive difference. And I think people like Tavernier, even Connor Goldson over the years, I mean, you've seen what impact that crowd can have on them. I know Barisic just got a name in Scottish football now called Black Post Barisic, because every time the ball goes in at the back post at Celtic Park, he seems to go missing. So I think I think it'll be interesting tomorrow to see how the Celtic players react, but also to see how the Rangers players react, because these are two squads that have been together for a long time, actually. If you look at the Rangers squad, I don't know if Andy agrees, but this is probably still the majority of the squad that was involved with the Europa League final. And I said that at the time, Michael. I said they need to get rid of the squad the following year. And even last year, they had Alfredo Morelos and Ryan Kent still there, when everybody in the granny knew that they needed to get rid of Alfredo Morelos, Ryan Kent, Connor Goldson, and James Tavernier. You know, everybody knew that needed to happen. And for me, I think they're being too loyal to certain players. I think you can say the same for Celtic as well. You need to look at skills as well. I think they're being too loyal to guys like him, Stephen Welsh, Anthony Ralston, people like that, Michael, who you can just tell are not up to the standard of the squad. But then Celtic are making me eat my own pie, because Scales has got a brand new 4-year deal, and everybody in the granny can see he's not good enough. So it's interesting to see what everybody else is seeing. But maybe Brendan Rodgers sees something different. So
you've also offered a new contract to Adam Montgomery as well.
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah.
Sorry, Graham, you I don't know if you have me on here.
No,
Adam Montgomery got a new deal as well yesterday.
Yeah.
I think Montgomery was at St Johnstone and Dundee.
Reagan, I was asking Andy about Brendan Rodgers' comments. What about you? I take it you'll see the opposite here. But what was that like? Of like that? Obviously, the media a big song and dance about it, and make the story last all week, and they were dying to ask for it. Come on today. I'm surprised that wasn't the first question. Actually, it was the last question. But anyway, and they asked Brendan Rodgers the question as well. What did you think about it?
My honest opinion on Michael is that I think that Brendan Rodgers knows how to play the game. He knows exactly what to do. And see, even that wee bit, he knows that's railed the other guy up. You know? It was the same when Chris Boyd would question him, he would say, be careful what you wish for. Just little things to just put the opposition off a little bit. and he's no mentioning the opposition. He's not talking about them, but everybody knows who he's talking about.
Do you think it's interesting how like Philip Clement basically came out and made the comments about gladiators and stuff like that, and kind of like deflecting from the game a wee bit in a way? Would you say that that's a manager kind of not lost the aggression and my thoughts because that's unfair, because Clement's did well under Rangers since he's come in, but also, do you think it's in the back of his mind about he's still no beat Celtic yet?
Aye, I think the big thing for me, Michael, is that he's feeling the pressure. He knows that he needs to win this game, and for him to say that Rangers don't have to win that what you said earlier, I just find that remarkable, and I find it remarkable that he's entertained these things that the media are saying. Because if it's me, I don't know what Andy thinks, but if it was me, if Rangers get a draw tomorrow, I would have said something like, well, I see Brendan Rodgers has not had as much fun as he wanted. Something like that, just to show him, look, well, he said he was going to have fun. Well, Rangers got a point here today. Something like that. But I think for Philippe Clement to speak about it like he did, I just think he's a little bit overawed a little.
I think Clement, given he's a European European managers like to answer every question and be in the conversation sort of thing, whereas Rodgers is obviously a British manager. He knows the game, he knows the media, so he can handle things not better but differently. And I think just Clement being, from Europe is probably used to answering a lot of those sort of type of questions. But, again, as I say, Rodgers said it. Doesn't matter what he said or what he hasn't said. What has to happen tomorrow is Rangers need to go and win the game. A draw, a defeat is no use. It's a must-win game for Rangers, as is every game, but especially tomorrow.
Regan, from a Celtic point of view, there's reports that Adam Idah has said to a website today, Scottish Football, that he's very keen to stay at Celtic next season. Would you take him? Oh, right, okay. Yeah,
You upset him again.
Obviously, digging into that question, and I'm not going to ask that question to Andy, because I know what he's going to say. But do you think that he does make a bit of a difference to Celtic, kind of like given that physical presence up front?
Yeah, of course he has, Michael. And I'll give an honest opinion. He is a decent player. He offers a different threat to Celtic. As you guys have pointed out before, and Celtic fans have said, Rodgers seems to want to put the ball in the box a lot more this season. It doesn't really suit Kyogo, as he doesn't really have much of an aerial threat, but Idah does. He's also decent with the ball at his feet. He's scored crucial goals for Celtic at Fir Park and other games as well. So I think he'll want to go to or stay at Celtic, and gain a permanent move, because obviously a chance of European football, which you're not going to get at Norwich or most teams he could play for in England. So I think he does suit Celtic, and Celtic probably suit him as well. So I think if Celtic were to sign him in the summer, it would be a good move for both parties.
How big a miss for Rangers tomorrow would be Goldson out the team?
Yeah, a big miss. Goldson, again, with his experience in these games, and I get that he hasn't always had it easy, but he is an experienced player in the dressing room and on the pitch. Has he had his faults and mistakes this season? Of course he has. But he will be a big miss tomorrow. Balogun as well. Will he be fit enough? I don't know. I don't think so. So you're probably going in there tomorrow with Suter and Ben Davies. Two, if you want to say, two inexperienced players in games against Celtic. But listen, whoever gets picked in the blue shirt tomorrow must give 100%. And again, I'm harping on, have to go and win the game. It's as simple as that.
Andy, I know you've probably seen it on social media, but there's been a lot of stuff going around about the kind of the Borna Barisic and Jack Butland thing with the fans, I don't understand that. I mean, why are fans acting like that? That was after you won 4-1 last week. You've got an Old Firm game to come up. I don't understand why they're getting so much abuse when they're actually being very good for Rangers.
Yeah. My opinion on that is it's modern day football fans. You get that at every club, unfortunately. The way the setup is at Rangers is before the game and after the game, the players go through the Coupland Road stand and out to the car park and out to their cars, and there's fans there. I've been there once or twice myself this season. I was actually coming round to go back to the supporters bus a wee while after the game on Sunday and got past the sort of stage where the security was and there was people waiting about. I just walked down the hill and there was a woman with 2 kids with English accents, and it turned out to be Jack Butland's family. So I assume that Jack Butland was wanting away sort of early doors. But listen, football players do enough for fans. They turn up at charity events, they turn up at hospitals, they turn up outside a ground at Ibrox or all throughout Scotland, and they pose for pictures, they sign shirts, programs, whatever you want. Let's be honest, most times it's for kids. The odd adult, I've done it myself, have asked for a photo or an autograph, but to go and give abuse to someone who plays for your football club, who gives 100% and represents your football club week in, week out, is an absolute disgrace from a so-called fellow Rangers supporter. The guy coming off saying, I pay your wages, whatever Jack Butland is on, I don't think the 4 of us could pay the guy's wages, you know what I mean? So for the guy to make this absolutely ridiculous comment like that there is embarrassing to himself. But listen, that's, again, as I say, that's modern day football fans who think they have the right to say or do what they want. But listen, Butland, I think Butland and Barisic were right to react. I don't know what to say, but I think Butland would be a wee bit more professional in how he came about the things rather than Barisic would, given he's the sort of foreign player and hot-headed Croatian that he may be. But again, that's stupidity from the fans who have done that. And who knows, they might have ruined that for actual fans who want to get pictures and stuff. I don't know. But again, it's absolutely stupid.
Reagan, we were talking about Adam Ida. Reports today that he's very keen to make his move permanent to Parkhead. Do you think that'll be a good move for Celtic if they go down that route?
Yeah, I think it would be good. Hopefully nobody comes to my door this time, but it would be a good thing, Michael. I mean, he's been very good for Celtic, and that's all we can really ask, because I know a lot of people were not very happy when he signed in January, because Brendan Rodgers wanted 4 quality players and he only got 1 quality in Adam Ida, and then Nicholas, who I don't think is up to it, as we've seen the past few weeks, because James Forrest has come in and done really well instead of him. So I think Celtic, but I think he would be an option. But I'm going to say something, right, that a lot of people might not think of, but I'm going to say that this could possibly be Kyogo's last season at Celtic. I genuinely think this could be Kyogo's last season, because if you look at Brendan Rodgers, I don't think Kyogo suits Brendan Rodgers' type of football. I really don't. And I think Brendan Rodgers, you look at the types of players that he had, it was Dembele, it was Edward, people like that are strong and physical. I think Kyogo's a completely different type of player.
What do you think of that, Grim?
I don't think so. I don't see Kyogo going anywhere soon. I mean, I would like to think he would, because he seems to scoring his starts every week, but I don't think he'll leave. I think, for me, you have to build a team around him. He's a natural goal scorer. As he showed last week with the 2 goals he got, he's a natural goal scorer, and I think they are few and far between. So as much as it might not fit Brendan's philosophy, he's a goal scorer, and you've got to build your team around that. So I don't see him leaving anytime soon. But I think I would agree on Adam Ida. I think he gives Celtic a different option. I don't know what's happening with O, he's not been playing for a while, but it does give him that physical presence. And he scored a few big goals for Celtic as well. You know, I think when he first signed, a lot of Celtic fans were thinking, this guy's going to be awful. And he's actually contributed. So I think if Celtic do keep him, fair enough. I think he's a good player.
I agree. I'll tell you what exactly has happened to old Brendan Rodgers has found out he's not good enough. And he thought, well, I'll send him off to someone else, because I think O would be somebody that would really benefit from going to another Scottish side the way that Ryan Christie did when Brendan Rodgers was here. If I'm sure he went to Aberdeen, guys. I don't know. Aberdeen, Ryan Christie?
Yeah, I think he did.
Sure it was Aberdeen.
Yeah.
So I think O might benefit for that, but I just don't think he's up to the level of Celtic at the moment. I wanted to ask Andy. Andy, for me going to the match tomorrow, I think the pace and the wide area will be the biggest thing for Rangers. But we fully come on saying that Matondo and Sima are both not available. Do you think that really changes the plan for Rangers now? How do you think they'll approach it? Because for me, that was a big danger for me, that I thought Sima could really cause skills problems. You know, I'm not a big fan of skills, and I think he could have really caused them problems. I still think Dessers will cause them problems, because I think people are being harsh on Dessers. You know, that's a guy that scored 20 goals in Scotland. It's not as if, like, people are saying it as if, oh, he's been really bad, but he was only really bad under Michael Beale. I think the guy's hold-up play has been really good.
Yeah, Regan, I think Matondo and Sema are obviously out. Well, for tomorrow anyway. It will be a big miss for Rangers, because they add pace and a bit of threat in the final third. And that obviously was the show in the previous game between the two of us. So who it could be? Is it Silva? Is it McCausland, Scott Wright, or possibly Cantwell playing out wide tomorrow? I'm not so sure, but whoever it may be will need to be on their game, you know, and take the game to Celtic. The fullbacks, I assume it's Taylor and Johnston tomorrow. But yeah, two big losses in Matondo and Sema. And sorry, what was your other question?
It was about Dessers.
Dessers, yeah. Dessers causes problems for himself, I think, as well at times. I like the big fella. I think he's not a bad player. He gets a harsh time, you know, from Rangers fans. But again, at times, I think sometimes rightfully so, because his main job is to score goals, you know, and I think he just likes to have a bit too much time, you know, getting it onto his left foot or taking the 2 touches or 3 touches. A striker should be getting 1 touch and getting the shot away, and obviously trying to score the goal. But and again, you're relying on Dessers, because, as I said previously before to people, Kemar Roof as your next striker. He's not there too much time. Silva is not an out-and-out goal scorer. But again, you have to chip in with goals from midfield and defence as well. I know Tavernier does, but the likes of Silva and McCausland and Cantwell and other players out wide have to start providing the goals as well, you know. But Dessers, 20 goals this season so far. It could have been a good lot more, but who knows? There's still 4 games in all to play, and hopefully he can make a difference in quite a few of them games. But tomorrow's a massive game for the big man as well up top.
Would you start McCausland, Andy? I mean, I think whenever I watch McCausland, he is, obviously he's young, but he's direct, he's got a bit of pace, he's got a bit of ability, he always tries to take his man on. I mean, at Celtic Park, it's a big occasion. Would you be happy to start McCausland?
See the previous game, Graham, at Celtic Park in December, where he started. I thought he done well, you know, given it was his first taste of the game. I thought he done well, and he was a threat. When he first came in at Rangers in the first team, he was direct and going up defenders and stuff. But the past few months, especially since Clemence came in, now whether or not that's an instruction, he sort of keeps turning back inside or turning back. As a winger, you shouldn't have any fear, being young or not. Go at your opposition player and force them back the way instead of them just putting you back inside. If he's to play on the right, Greg Taylor as good as he has been for Celtic, I think he can be suspect at times. So if it is McCausland, he's got to be on his game and have a good go at his opposite number. And again, that will be said on the other end of the pitch there, on the same side as Maeda, probably going against Tavernier, who has caused Tavernier and Rangers problems in previous times.
I know we keep saying that in big games like this, Andy, whether it's Celtic or Rangers or Hearts or Hibs or in the cup finals in a couple of weeks, we'll speak about it again. But do you think that the set plays will be a big thing on this game? And yeah, I think you would be hoping that the Rangers team and the scouting squad will be watching Celtic's last couple of games, because especially that semi-final, I mean, the 2 goals came from the exact same position, and also Dundee gave it a go the other week when Celtic went up there. So do you think that the game will be won and lost in kind of like set plays?
Michael, it could well be. Set plays are obviously vital for both teams, both attacking and defensive. Again, with Goulson out and Balogun out, that could cause problems in both boxes for Rangers from an aerial point of view. But yeah, set plays could cause a difference tomorrow, whether that be from corners, free kicks, or even penalties. So both sides are a wee bit suspect defensively at the back, and especially from set plays. But again, it's not just the defensive sort of thing. It's Rangers' deliveries from corners have been absolutely shocking, to put it kindly, this season. And I'm an old school. I like an in swinging corner. Out swinging corner doesn't do it for me, and I think it sort of takes the ball away from your own players, and it's going out towards the edge of the box sort of thing, or the back post. But like, I think in swinging corners, they're more threat towards the opposition.
I always get annoyed, especially at Hearts, especially when we can't beat the first man from a set piece. Always think you should get fined if you can't beat the first man from a set piece, because it's so annoying watching it.
As a professional footballer, you should be beating the first man at every opportunity, free kick or corner.
Graham, you said to me a couple of weeks ago, and it's a good quote. Some good to use it from now on. You've got no horse in this race. Well, it's not a race; it's a game of football. But yeah, I know what I mean. So where do you think the game will be won and lost? And give us your score prediction if you can be very brave, because Andy's on.
The game will won and lost by whoever scores the most goals. Can I put it more simple than that?
Morgan's back in there.
I think probably the midfield. I think if you look at that Celtic midfield, I said it before, McGregor, Hatate, O'Reilly is the best midfield in Scotland. I think Rangers have got to get a grip of that. Now, I'd imagine it'll be Lundstrom, Diomande, and, as Andy said, potentially Sterling. They've got to win that midfield battle. If they win that, they've got a chance. But I think what Rangers can't afford to do, like they did in the last Old Firm game at Ibrox, is concede early. Now, although they did come back in that game at Celtic Park, it's going to be slightly different because there's no Rangers fans in there, like Andy mentioned. Celtic will probably start the game quite quickly. Rangers have got to they've got to stop midfield playing. They've got to stop that midfield playing, because if that Celtic midfield gets a hold on that game, then I think they could run over that Rangers midfield. But Rangers have got threat. They do have a threat up front. I know that we give Dessers a lot of stick, but 20 goals this season isn't actually that bad. He does have decent hold-up play. He's a threat going behind, so he can cause problems. But I think it's that midfield battle. If Celtic win that, then I think they win the game.
Andy?
Can I just add that, and I've had this thought all week, tomorrow, Celtic at home, no away fans, 60,000 home fans. The crowd will be obviously it'll be a live wire tomorrow. It's a big game mentally for Rangers, and also from a discipline point of view. The previous game, there was a wee bit of a spot towards the end of the game, and Callum McGregor had said something when Cantwell came on. Todd Cantwell likes to react to these things, be it verbally or physically. every Rangers player needs to be on their toes tomorrow because like Callum McGregor, Carter Vickers, these guys are all streetwise, and the crowd, they'll play to the crowd and try and get a reaction from Rangers, and Rangers have to be very, very good on their game on that side of things as well, and not react to silly fouls or get into stupid arguments or whatever it may be. And I'm not saying that from a sort of, oh, the referee will be on Celtic's side. It's the same way every game. You shouldn't, again, as a professional footballer, you do your talking on the pitch, let the ball do the talking, go and put the ball in the opposition net, and whatever's said after, fair enough, but do not react to any stupidity.
I think as well,
But
because of the occasion,
where I think the
because
game will be.
on you go, Andy.
What's that?
No, on you go.
Sorry, where I think the game will be won or lost, obviously, as you point out, whoever scores the most goals, yeah. But again, the midfield battle is absolutely vital. As you say, McGregor, Hatate, O'Reilly, are key for Celtic. So, and that's where I think Rangers need to accommodate a place in midfield for Sterling. I would play Yilmaz at left back and play Sterling in the middle of the park and use his energy and physicality to try and keep Celtic at bay and pose a threat going forward as well. But Kyogo, he loves these games. He loves a goal in these games. He can add a difference. Dessers as well. You don't know what the big fella can do. He could miss a few chances. He could score one or two. You never know. But the game will be very open, I think, tomorrow because of what's at stake. Celtic will go out flying out of the traps, but Rangers, I think, have to do the same. So the first 10, 15, 20 minutes could be, very, very lively.
I think what I'd like to see happen tomorrow is a neutral, and this won't happen. I know that, but what I'd like to see happen is Willie Collum doesn't get too involved. It's an old firm game. He needs to let the game flow. He can't be booking the first player for one challenge. He's got to let the game flow and let it kind of breathe a little bit. If you give a booking after 2 minutes for a challenge, then you're going to ruin the game. And I don't want to be coming on your Sunday talking about VAR again because that would just be a pain in the arse. But Willie Collum needs to referee this game properly, and I hope that at the end of this game we are not talking about bad refereeing. We're talking about a decent game because the last one was a good game. 3-3, some really good goals. Matondo's goal was a cracker, got goal of the season. I hope that's what we're talking about and not another refereeing decision because that's the last thing you want.
Yeah,
let's be honest, we're talking about Scottish referees here, so we'll probably will be talking about some rubbish about decisions, whatever it might be.
Regan, where do you think the game will be won and lost for Celtic tomorrow?
If they can be precise in attack, I think that I don't know if Andy know better than me, but I think he also said that Balogun may be missing as well. So if you're looking at Balogun being missing, you've got Davis who's not played for it. He played last week, but he's no fully up to speed. And I think if Celtic could really get at him, like Matt O'Reilly and Forrest and Palma and Kyogo, all the kind of players can really get at the Rangers defence, I think it's there to be got at. But I think the game will be won and lost on who can take the chances at the right moment. But it'll also come down to, as you guys were saying there about the referee, I think he needs to be strong, but I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to say that there's going to be a red card somewhere. I really do think that because I think that because there's so much tension on the game, 2 games to go after this, I think that possibly Celtic might get annoyed because they're not winning, or else Rangers might get annoyed because the scoreline is like 3 or 4, and then maybe that's it's going from bad to worse for them. So I just genuinely think there'll be a red card tomorrow, Michael. But I hope. No, I was just going to add there. I hope that the referee is not the biggest talking point tomorrow.
No, exactly. Just before we leave this game, actually, I forgot to say Brendan Rodgers' press conference today, and he was quoted saying that they are great games to be involved in and looking forward to the game, but we need to focus on ourselves tomorrow as well. So that's the Celtic Rangers game kicking off at 12:30. Let's speak about the big game then at Tynecastle, away from that small matter in Glasgow. Hearts against Dundee tomorrow, Graham. A big game tomorrow, especially at home.
It's not a big game. It means nothing. We've got third. European football's confirmed. I'm looking forward to this because I'm going with my laddie. And I'm glad that it's a relaxed atmosphere. We can afford to make changes tomorrow. We can afford to make quite a few changes. And I think overall, I'm really pleased with how the season's gone. You know, Dundee could potentially still catch St Mirren. I know St Mirren play Kilmarnock tomorrow, which is a big game. So Dundee probably, well, they do need the points to try and catch St Mirren. So it's a big game for them. But for us, season's done. You know, we've had a really, really good season. Got third wrapped up with 3 games to go. Thank you, Rangers, for beating Kilmarnock last week. And I'm delighted at how things have gone for Hearts. Like, if you'd asked me months ago, and I said at the time, if we would finish third and be in 2 Scottish Cup, a Scottish Cup and the League Cup, I would have said no. So I'm delighted. But tomorrow's a game that we can afford to make a few changes in. I think Shankland will start because he's got 2 more to hit 30 for the season, so he'll be looking to get that. But yeah, overall, I'm genuinely happy how the season's gone.
I don't know what we said, Graham, but I thought we were doing well. But because we spoke about, see that's because the big 2 is finished, and they said, right, our work's done, I'm away. So yeah, it's only the main 2. It's like old times here, me and Graham, as well. But yeah, I mean, I know, but like you still want to go out on a bit of a high, Graham, tomorrow.
Yeah, Michael, you want to go in a high for Hearts. I don't know what comes to Graham, but yeah, I mean, for Hearts, they want to go in a high because there was a very good season. It's probably the second last game at home because I know that they're playing Rangers in the last day of the season. So they'll be hoping, for their point of view, that they can really step up to the plate and put on a show for the supporters that are going to be there.
Do you think that it's a mixed season for Hearts in terms of getting to the semi-final twice and failing in both occasions, Graham?
Sorry, I missed the start of that question.
Oh yeah. Sorry, there was a
Graham,
few technical issues.
I've already answered
Regan.
the question, so it's fine. I already answered the first question because you went off.
Yeah,
So-
no, I was just saying that. Do you think it's a mixed bag for Hearts this season? Because obviously, brilliant season under Naismith, but also disappointing to get to 2 semi-finals and you basically never turned up in both of the games.
Yeah, I mean, I think the League Cup semi was poor. I thought I don't know what the tactics were for that game. I thought the Scottish Cup was different. I thought we had decent chances in that game and just didn't do enough in the final third. But overall, I mean, I can't be too disappointed how the season's gone. You know, at the start of the season, we talked about the whole Stephen Naismith and Frankie McAvoy dynamic and how was that going to work? And we had the whole Sky interview. And I said at the time, this looks like it'd be a car crash. Thankfully, it wasn't. And then around December time, went on a 12-game unbeaten run. And I genuinely thought it's been a great run. So I think I have to give Naismith credit. I was slightly surprised that he wasn't mentioned in the Manager of the Year. I don't think he would have won it, but I'm surprised he wasn't mentioned given the fact he's got us third and he's got us to 2 semi-finals. Slightly surprised at that, but there you go. But I think the job he's done overall has been very good. You know, there is no doubt that Lawrence Shank has been a massive part of that. 28 goals this season has been great, but I think Frankie Kent's been really good. Cammy Devlin's been really good. Alec Cochrane's been really good. Again, I think 2 of the most underrated players in that Hearts team this season, and any Hearts fans watching this can agree with us or not, Alan Forrest and Zander Clark. I think Zander Clark's been outstanding. He's kept 15 clean sheets this season. He got a bit of stick last week, which I found surprising because he kept us in that game against Celtic. I genuinely think Zander Clark has been fantastic. Now, yes, of course, Craig Gordon's still the better goalkeeper, but we are very fortunate to have 2 excellent goalkeepers. And I just think some of the stick that I've seen Zander Clark getting is outrageous because he doesn't deserve it.
Who do you think you'll play tomorrow, Graham? Because don't forget now we've got 2 games to go before they go to Germany, Scotland. So do you think you'll play Craig Gordon because he needs to build his fitness up because of this 26-man squad, or do you think he'll stick with Xander Clark?
No, I think the last 3 games, I think he'll play Craig Gordon. I think Xander Clark's on the plane already. Him and Angus Gunn are on that plane, and I think Craig Gordon probably will be, but I think he does need to get his fitness up. And I think it showed the last game he played that he wasn't quite at that level yet. So I'm expecting Craig Gordon to start tomorrow. I'm expecting the Hearts to make a few changes tomorrow. Like Kiyosuke Tagawa, who's not really done a lot this season, I think he'll start. Macaulay Tate, Aidan Denham, 2 youngsters, I think they'll start. This is a chance for Naismith to make some changes. And I think that's what he'll do.
And Oda, I was thinking Graham as well. I mean, I've not seen a lot of the guy this season, but he's come on and he's scored a few goals as well. And I think he came on at Park Keg last week as well, and he's a good player. But I was going to say to you, that a worrying time for you and the Hearts fans if you keep Roland Shankland till next season?
It's a difficult one. He does still have time on his contract. He's got till next summer. I personally don't think he'll stay in the summer. I think he will leave. And given the interview that he did after the Player of the Year awards, when he basically talked about he's wanting to play at a higher level still, I don't think that's in Scotland. So I think if he does leave, he's going to go probably English Championship or abroad. Now, he's been to Belgium before. It didn't work out at Beerschot, and he might think he's got a point to prove. So I think he probably will leave in the summer, but it's how we replace him. But we've got money. We've got the 5 million for the Euro from the Euro qualifiers. We've got the money from the Foundation of Hearts. We've got money there. And like I said before we came on air, I know that he's been offered a new contract and how much the contract's worth. Now, I don't think if he signs it, if he doesn't sign it, it's not about the money for me. I just think he wants a new challenge. He's 28. He might think he's got maybe one more big deal left on him. So if he does go, I wouldn't grudge him that because he's been outstanding. 56 goals in 2 seasons for Hearts. He's been outstanding. And I remember when he signed in 2022, I put in our group chat, I'm delighted with that, but I didn't think he'd be as good as what he has been. He's been outstanding for Hearts.
How happy, I know that Hearts made the top 6, but if Roland Shankland come out next week say, I'm going to stay, is that better than Hearts make the top 6?
Oh, I'd be delighted. I think every Hearts fan would be. That's the one we're all wanting. You know, I think every Hearts fan, like, players come and go from clubs all the time. You've had it at Celtic, everyone's had it, and no player's bigger than the club. But when you've got a guy like Shankland, who's the captain just now, he's got 28 goals this season, 28 goals last season, him coming out and saying, do you know what, I'm going to stay, would be absolutely fantastic. It's the news that all Hearts fans want. But like I've said, if he does go, I'm not one of these Hearts fans who's going to go, oh, you know, we've given you everything. I'm not going to do that. He's been outstanding for Hearts. He doesn't owe us anything. Now, we know that a lot of folk will say, is Shankland a legend? No, he's not, because he's not won anything yet. But I think what he has done, he's managed to get us third. Now, I said in December time when we did the podcast, the big thing for me was keeping Shankland in January. We had to keep him in January to get us third. We've done that. And it's been brilliant. I've said it so many times, his link-up play, his hold-up play, his game intelligence, he's a far better player than folk give him credit for. I know I've had folks saying to me, but he didn't turn up last week against Celtic. I mean, yes, he maybe wasn't great last week, but you're against a Celtic team that's going to have a lot of the ball. He had one chance, I think, early on, and it was blocked. But overall, honestly, Shankland's been outstanding for Hearts. And if he does stay, I'll be delighted. But right now, I'm not convinced he's going to.
I kind of get what Hearts fans mean about a legend, and you're right, I suppose, like, he's not won anything as well, but you know, like, fans can get carried away, Graham, that they're a bit fickle at times as well, but like, I think you know, I would say if he's still at Tynecastle that season and they won something, then you would say, yeah, he's up there with your pal John Robertson as a legend, but I don't think you can. Plus, it's a bit early on in his career. If he still stays at Hearts, to call him a legend.
Yeah, I mean, Robbo's my hero. He always has been. And I mean, Shankland is not quite at that level yet. And let's be honest, there's very few players that stay at a club for as long as John Robertson did. That just doesn't happen anymore in this era. It's a shame. But like I said, if Shankland does go, then he goes with best wishes because he's been outstanding for Hearts. But he's been offered the best contract we can offer him. Again, I know I heard a lot of folks saying, give the Euro money that we're getting to him to extend his contract. I don't think it's about the money, though. I genuinely think he maybe thinks he can maybe try somewhere else, like English Championship, for example. And I have no issue with that. I genuinely, and I've said this before, I genuinely don't think he goes to Rangers because I don't think Rangers want him. If they wanted him, they'd sign him in January. I don't think he's a Philip Clement player. So I don't see him going to Rangers. I think he genuinely wants to either go to England or try abroad again because it didn't work at Beershot. So if he does go, then he goes with best wishes. The big question is, how do you replace him? I mean, how do you replace a guy that's got 28 goals? It is very difficult to do that. But I know that Naismith and the board are actively looking for players. But, I mean, it was no surprise to me that he won the Player of the Year award. It was thoroughly, thoroughly deserved. It couldn't be anyone else. So delighted with that as well.
Before we move on to Dundee, let's speak about the feature on the show. Every time we talk about Hearts, Craig Gordon. What a comeback he's made this season. And I said on the show a couple of weeks ago as well. For the man to come back from that injury, it's just remarkable because we all saw the pictures on social media and all that, and we thought, well, his career is over. And look, he's got a chance at going to the Euros, but do you think he will just miss out, or do you think he'll be there?
No, I think he'll go. I think he will definitely be there. I don't think he'll start, because I think Angus Gunn will start, because Steve Clarke is very loyal to his players, which is fine. I get it. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, I think every Hearts fan, every neutral, thought after that double late break at Tannadice, his career's gone, and it was a shame. But the way he's come back has been outstanding. I mean, he generally is just a phenomenal athlete. And to come back from that and still be playing at the top level is outstanding. And him going to Euros, I think he will. You know, the one thing I hope doesn't happen, now that the squad's been extended to 26 in opposed to 23, I hope we don't take 4 goalkeepers. There's no point in that. For me, it's got to be Angus Gunn, Craig Gordon and Zander Clark. That should be the 3 goalkeepers. But to come back from that injury has been outstanding. And honestly, Gordon is a phenomenal goalkeeper. I've said it before, I was brought up like with Henry Smith in the 80s. I think Gordon surpassed that. He's just an absolutely brilliant goalkeeper.
Let's speak about Dundee then tomorrow. Another team that's had a good season, but also as well that, Graham, you've got to take in consideration that they've came up from the championship. They've had Dundee. I'm sorry if you're watching, Gregor, but Dundee finances aren't up there. You would maybe put them in the same part as maybe St Johnstone. I don't know if that's fair of me saying that. But I mean, Tony Docherty is having a fantastic season. His first job has been a manager.
Yeah, and he was rightly included in the Manager of the Year because I think he deserved to be up there. I wasn't surprised McGlynn won it. Going unbeaten with Falkirk, you deserve to win that. But the job that Docherty's done has been outstanding. You know, any team that comes up from the Championship, their first thing is, can we stay up? Well, he didn't just do that. He got top 6 and comfortably. I think they're a very good side. You know, they play decent football. They've got 2 fantastic young midfielders, Luke McCowan and Lyle Cameron there. They're a very, very good footballing side. They were poor against St Mirren last week. They were. I think even Tony Docherty admitted that they just weren't themselves last week. But tomorrow's a big game for them. You know, it means nothing to Hearts, but it means something to Dundee because they're looking at that Kilmarnock St Mirren game thinking we could actually catch St Mirren here if we win this. So it's a big, big game for them. There's no pressure on us, which is why I think we can make a few changes. But if Dundee win tomorrow and Kilmarnock beat St Mirren, then Dundee are right in there for that 5th place, which again would be phenomenal if they get that, because that would be European football, which would be incredible. Are
you expecting a full house tomorrow or not? Because everybody's going to see you, but to see the game.
I don't have a full house. I think it'll be busy, and it'll be a party atmosphere. because we've got third place wrapped up. We know we've got the guaranteed group stage football as well, which is great. We'll have the qualifier for the Europa League, but if we get knocked out of that, we know that we've got the knockout stages. Thursday night football again, can't wait. But yeah, it'll be a party atmosphere tomorrow. So I'm expecting a decent atmosphere.
And I must ask you this very important question, Graham. Are you taking the beach ball with you tomorrow?
It's tempting, very tempting. I might take a newspaper, just read that while I'm watching the game, or maybe not watching it. Depends how it's going.
I was going to say smoke a cigar, but that's not a good example for young people watching the program. What is a cigar? But yeah, I mean, Dundee has done okay this season. Everybody they've kind of punched above their weight. Would that be fair for me to say?
Oh, they've definitely overachieved. I don't think even any realistic Dundee fan, if you're in this, Gregor, would have thought that Dundee would finish in the top 6 at the start of the season. I don't even think Tony Docherty would have thought that. I mean, they've managed to be in the top 6 above Hibs, Aberdeen and Motherwell. I don't think many folk would have thought that. But fair play to them. Like I said, they're a really good footballing side. We've had a lot of decent games against them this season. They've finished 3-2 a couple of times at Tynecastle and Dens. They're a really, really good side. Obviously, we know about the problems with their pitch. That's been well documented. But they're a very good side. And I think they've got a lot of loan players there as well, though, which is going to be difficult to replace them next season. And of course, like I've said before, next season we'll have a Glasgow derby, a Dundee derby, and an Edinburgh derby, which is great. Honestly, that's what you want to see. You want to see these derbies back in Scottish football. It's great.
Final question on this game, Graham. But do you think that I know a lot of lonely players are up at Dundee at the moment? Would you be looking at some of them to come to Tynecastle in that season? I'm thinking of Scott Tiffany.
He's a good player, but I don't think he's what Hearts really need. To be honest, if there's one player that I would definitely take, well, two, it's the young laddies, Lyle Cameron and Luke McKeown. I think they're quality. I don't think they'll be at Dundee for long. I think they will go for a lot of money because they're very, very special talents, and it's great to have them in Scottish football. So I could see them potentially moving in the summer. Where they go, I don't know. I'm sure there'll be maybe Premiership teams looking at them, but they're two fantastic players. So it's going to be hard, again, to replace them. I mean, I think second season is always a difficult one. I've been asked a couple of times, do I think Dundee will do well next season? I think it's tough because they're going to lose a lot of players. They're going to have to spend they're going to have to spend money again. So it's going to be difficult because the second season is always the hardest. And of course, they've now got their neighbours there as well. So it's going to make it that little bit harder.
Yeah, no, exactly. Neighbours, that's right across the road. Where I always find it funny where Dundee walks to Tannadice when they play each other, and they go away in the team bus and all that. But no, they walk across the road. I find that quite funny.
Oh, I was watching a thing a few days ago. I've watched it before, but it was a Danny Dyer thing, and he was talking about he was standing on the street, and he went, "There is Dundee United, home of Tannadice, home of Dundee United. Over there is Dundee. They are literally right across the road." And he couldn't fathom how that's happened. It was mind blown to him. It's welcome to Scotland, mate.
Must be the only club in the world, I don't know any other team that's just kind of you would say back to back with each other,
I think it is the only one. I think it is the only one.
Well, let's move on to the game tomorrow between Ross County and Motherwell. Graham, and yet again, Graham, before we talk about this game, quite a sad news actually. It's a statement on the Ross County website, and also our colleague Ross from the County Corner put in the group chat today that the young Jan Danda has been a fan has been recently abusing him, and so Ross County has confirmed today that a 27-year-old male has been arrested in charge for the racist abuse to young Ganda. And I think tomorrow, Graham, am I right in saying, is it after 27 minutes, they're having a minute of applause? And like, I know that we should be talking, well, you would want to talk about football, and I know that's what we're here for, but really, I mean, as I put in the group chat today, I mean, you think we're moving forward as a society, and this is a horrible thing to see.
2024, and we've still got idiots in certain fan bases. You know, it shouldn't be happening. And I said this at the time last week as well. And listen, it shouldn't happen no matter who you play for, it shouldn't happen. But I can guarantee if Jan Danda wasn't going to Hearts, it wouldn't have happened, because it was Hibs fans that did it. And it's because Danda's going to Hearts that happened. I guarantee that's why that happened. But it shouldn't happen anyway. And like I said, there's always idiots and minorities. And again, you know, surely somebody around this guy has got to be saying, what are you doing, mate? You know, just these people are human beings. What are you doing? But unfortunately, it seems like you can't self-police it nowadays. And it's shocking. And it's a applause in the 10th minute, because Danda was number 10. So it's an applause in the 10th minute. But again, in this day and age, like I said, it's 2024 and it's still happening. I mean, get a grip, folks. What are you doing?
Yeah, I know you. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Hibs or whatever. It doesn't matter. You know, it should not be happening, and that's the point that we're trying to make. And I think, like Ross was saying, that if both sets of fans can take part, Ross County and Motherwell just come together. Like you can. You know, you would want your team to win for 90 minutes and blah, blah, blah. But just come together, just be a unit as one for that minute. And you know, but sadly, I don't think this is going to go out of football, Glenn, because this has been going on for years.
No, it's not. And, you know, these are guys doing a job on a football park and you're abusing them. You know, you might not rate them, you might not think they're good players, that's fine. You can kind of shout at them for that, but abusing them, it's ridiculous. And I bet the folk that do this as well are like working people. It's like, how would you like it if we came out of your job and started doing that to you? You wouldn't like it, would you? These people have probably got families as well. It's like, what are you doing? I mean, get a grip. I have never, ever gone to a football game to shout abuse at somebody. It's just not what I would do. But you get folk like that do that. And like there's young kids around that are hearing this and thinking, oh, I can do that then. No, you can't. I mean, we're teaching youngsters bad things here. And it's just another example of it shouldn't happen. You know, Danda is on a football park. He's doing a job and you're giving him abuse. It shouldn't happen.
No, it shouldn't happen. So if you're going to the game tomorrow, make sure you get a minute's applause for Danda, because it shouldn't be happening on football or any sporting event as well. The Euros, Olympics coming up, whatever. It should not be happening, and we should not be talking about it. But sadly, we've still got to talk about it as well. On the park, Grim, the game tomorrow is the Stuart Kettlewell derby, you would say, Ross Kent against Motherwell. Now, the last time Motherwell went up there, and our good friend of the show, Stephen, went up there, they got outplayed, outfought, and they get beat 3-0. And Stuart Kettlewell said today that it's going to be a difficult game. I know as an ex-Ross County manager, Don Goodwin is a good guy and a good football guy as well. And then he touched upon that we need to go up there and put in a good performance and get the win, because the last time we went up there, we were very disappointed with the result and the performance, Graham.
I don't think Ross County have lost a home game since Don Counties came in. So this is a very big game. You know, Ross County have already beaten Rangers there. They've beat Hibs last week, although I think looking at the highlights, Hibs should have got something out of the game. But Don County has done a good job there, especially at home. It's a massive, massive game for Ross County. You know, they really have to get a win here to to try and pull away from St Johnstone. I think, sorry, Alistair, if you're watching this, but I think St Johnstone are going to win that playoff because they just don't score enough goals. Ross Kent have got a bit of something about them. I think this is a game that Ross Kent, I think, will win. Sorry, Stephen. You don't know what Motherwell team's going to turn up. I mean, Ross Kent, like I said, won last week. Motherwell beat Livingston, which wasn't a massive surprise. But there's more pressure on County here than there is from Motherwell. Motherwell aren't going to get dragged into this now. I think they're safe. So, I mean, Motherwell still want to win the game, but it's a massive, massive game for County. And I think County will win this game tomorrow. I genuinely do. I can see them pulling away.
Do you think as well that the difference if Derek Adams was still there to Don Cowie, do you think if Adams was still there, Ross County would be where Livingston are at the moment?
Yeah, I do. I just don't think Derek Adams had that aura about him that Don Cowie's got. I mean, you're basically throwing your players under the bus like Derek Adams did, and you're bringing down the standard of Scottish football like Derek Adams did. It's never going to be good. You know, I said at the time, the players are going to be thinking, why am I want to play for you then if you're going to say that about me? I wouldn't want to play for him. And I think the fact that Don Cowie's come in, I like the way he comes across, I like the way he speaks. He's very positive about his players. That's what you want. You would run through brick walls for a guy like that. And there's a complete difference there. I think if Derek Adams was still there, they would be in huge trouble. But I think Cowie gets them out of this. I genuinely do. I think they've got something about them that I just don't feel that St Johnstone have. And obviously last week, Ross County got that win against Hibs. They're at home again. There's a massive, massive game on Wednesday, though, because on Wednesday it's St Johnstone against Ross County. That is a massive, massive game. If County could win tomorrow with Livingston playing St Johnstone tomorrow, it's a huge 3 points.
And I suppose, like, you would say that after all that, Ross County is safe.
Yeah, I would say so. I would definitely say so. I mean, I know we're going to it shortly, but I actually think Livingston will win tomorrow because there's no pressure. They're down. They've nothing to play for. Yeah, the pressure's off. I think they could beat St Johnstone tomorrow. Again, sorry, Alistair. But if Ross County win tomorrow, it's a massive, massive game then Wednesday. And I just think Ross County have got something about them. You know, and we just talked about it there. Jan Danda, he'll want to put in a show tomorrow because he's not got many games left, especially at Dingwall. I think there's maybe one more game after this before he leaves and comes to Hearts. He'll want to make a statement and say, I'm going to keep my team up here. I can see him being vital tomorrow. You know, again, guys like Simon Murray has had a good season. Eamon Brophy, guys, Jordan White, who scored last week. They've got players in that team that can get them out of this that I just don't feel that St Johnstone have.
As for Motherwell, Graham, that's the second season they've ended up in the bottom six. Are you surprised how they've ended up in the bottom six again this season?
Yeah, probably. I thought they'd be a bit higher than that. They have been very up and down this season. You know, as Stephen mentioned numerous times, they went 15 games without a win. And you normally think after 8 or 9, the manager would get sacked. But they stuck with Kettlewell, and fair play to Motherwell, because he has got them out of it. They're a very kind of up and down team this year. I mean, I thought they deserved to win last week against Livingston, there's no doubt about that. But they're a very up and down team this season. And we've talked about it so many times before, but I don't think anybody could have seen how well Theo Bair was going to do this season. Because when he signed for Motherwell, I'm pretty sure that Stephen as well said he's going to be awful. And he's been really, really impressive. That's why he's in the team of the season. But like I said, tomorrow I don't think they've got anything to play for. There's no pressure on them. They're gonna be fine. They're gonna stay up. But it's gonna be about next season. You know, how Kettlewell does next season. Can he keep them out of that place again? You don't want to be in that place again. You want to be up there challenging for that kind of top 6 position. But it's been a very strange season for them.
I know we've not been together. That sounds a bit wrong, but we've not been on the show together for a couple of weeks, Graham. But there was talk of the Netflix, one of the directors coming in to buy Motherwell. How worried would the fans be in terms of like because when I always hear about like foreign owners coming in, that they're just using it as, you know, like a cash cow, you would say. But I mean, it could benefit the team, like bring in better players and finish high up on the table. But is it a bit of doubt in your back of your mind about that if he's coming into Motherwell?
Darren, my prediction's 2-1 Celtic. I should have said that earlier. I mean, I would question why they're coming out in Motherwell, but I would question that for a lot of teams, though. I would say the same about Bill Foley at Hibs. Why Hibs?
Yeah.
Now, I hope for Stephen's sake, because Stephen's obviously a good guy, I hope for his sake that this works out. But I would be questioning why they're coming to Motherwell. You know, what are their motives? Now, if they're coming in and they're gonna spend money and kind of make Motherwell a better team, then fine. But I would be asking the question, why they're coming to Motherwell? There must be a reason. Sorry, Motherwell fans, but there's bigger teams that could come into. There must be a reason. And until we kind of know that, it's difficult to know what's going to happen there.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because I mean, I wish him well if he comes in tomorrow or the guy at Hibs, but I just feel as though, well, you know, and I think you make a good point there, Glenn, because he's probably never heard of Motherwell before. Like, I know you can get a good kebab in Motherwell and all that, right? But I mean, you know, like, I think he's just coming there to make money and probably. I hope for them I'm wrong. Hopefully, Motherwell will be up there in Europe next season and all the rest of it if he comes in. But is there not a bit of a doubt in the back of your mind? I mean, you had it with Romanov a few seasons ago, and albeit it was a brilliant team under George Burley, but there was stuff coming out about he was picking the team and all that, and you know, and when the owner gets involved in that, you know, that's not his job.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the Hearts one, you know, we wanted rid of Chris Robinson. Robinson wanted us to go to Murrayfield for a season, and Hearts fans didn't want that. Romanoff came in and said that we'd stay at Tynecastle and stuff, and I think, like myself and a lot of other Hearts fans, we bought into that and thought, this guy's going to be great. And then we were riding the crest of a wave, first 10 games, top of the league, unbeaten. And then the whole thing with Burley happened, and you think, wait a minute, something's not right here. And it kept happening. Like you said, they kept picking the team. He was faxing managers. He was sacking managers left, right, and centre. And you kind of thought, this guy's a nutter. You know, what is he doing here?
Is that a case of saying, Glenn, be careful what you wish for?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, these owners will come in with, you know, they'll say things that the fans want to hear, but you have to then deliver that. If you don't deliver that, then fans will start to think, well, that's not what you said you were going to do when you came in. You know, what's the actual plan here? I think what needs to happen is these people that come in are going to have to sit down with the fans and say, right, this is what our plan is. This is what we're going to do. And then go and do it. Because fans aren't daft. They will see right through it. If you're making promises that you can't keep, fans will think, yeah, this isn't right. And I'm sure Stephen will probably say the same thing. So it is, you've got to be wary. I'm always wary of folk that come in from abroad and want to take over a football club. But, I mean, you've just said it there, rightly so. How did these guys even know who Motherwell were? You know, somebody's told them about this somewhere. So you do have to ask questions and think, right, why are they coming to Motherwell? So there must be something in there. And for Stephen's sake, like I said, and Motherwell's sake, I hope it works out. But I would have my doubts.
I think the only way that he's coming, because I think Murrow had an American football team once upon a time, so maybe he's getting mixed up between football and American football. But we'll soon see. Good luck to Murrow there if the new owner comes in. One of the games of the day for me tomorrow, Graham, is just maybe 10 minutes away from me. St Mirren against Kilmarnock.
Oh, that's a huge game. Absolutely massive game. A win for Kelly basically wraps up fourth. St Mirren win, they could still keep it. You know, they could still get in that fourth place. It's a huge game. I think both teams have had really good seasons. If I wasn't going to Tynecastle, I'd be interested in this one. But it's such a big game. You know, again, Derek McInnes was in there for Manager of the Year. Again, deservedly on that list, but didn't win it. They've both had very good seasons. You know, again, they're both good footballing teams. They both try and like to get the ball on the deck. They've both got really good players in their teams. This is a really tough game to call. I mean, I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if this finished a draw because both teams are such good teams this season. I mean, the fact that it's at St Mirren might just favour them slightly. Kilmarnock's away record isn't actually that great, but it's such a tough game to call because you've got two very good teams and two excellent managers.
It's a bit weird to think that, Graham, that if St Mirren qualifies for Europe, the away team would have to. I know we were saying about Dundee United and Dundee walking. The away team in Europe would just have to walk from the airport 10 minutes down the road at St Mirren Park, and you're there. Right enough, I wouldn't walk about in Ferguson Park or Figi Park.
No, I mean, listen, Kilmarnock and St Mirren playing European football is fantastic. You know, I've got a few Kelly mates and stuff that are buzzing with that, and rightly so. It'll be a massive occasion for them. I just hope they can compete well in Europe because it happens so many times that Scottish clubs get knocked out very early. I hope that doesn't happen this time. But for those two teams to play European football, and I wouldn't yet rule out Dundee. You know, they could still catch St Mirren depending on what happens tomorrow in the last couple of games. But, I mean, they've both been outstanding. And I think, you know, again, if they punched above their weight, maybe possibly. I mean, for Kelly, I think I said at the start of the season, I think they finished top 6. But I didn't think they finished 4th. They were a brilliant season. And like guys like Danny Armstrong, who I think has been one of the best players in the league, Kyle Russell, who I think has been really good as well. St Mirren have got like guys like Mandron, your mate Mark O'Hara. They're just very good teams. Very good teams.
You mentioned Mark O'Hara there. I forgot to mention that. It's, we were talking about the Stuart Kettlewell derby. Well, it's actually the Mark O'Hara derby as well because he played for Kilmarnock back in the day as well. Derek McInnes was talking to the media yesterday. He was saying, now we just want to finish off getting 4th place and it will be a great season, Graham. But, yeah, I mean, Kilmarnock's gone outstanding.
Oh, they've been brilliant. I mean, we've played them 4 times this season, not lost any game. Actually, no, it's 5 because we played them in the League Cup as well, and we've not lost a game, but they've all been very tight. There's been a few draws in there. They're just a very good side. They're very hard to beat. I certainly can Rangers know at their cost because Kilmarnock have taken points for both of them, especially at home. They're just a very good side. They know what they're capable of. They know their limits, and they just get the job done. They're a very good side. You know, the game that we played against them at Rugby Park a couple of weeks ago, I thought first half we were the better team. But in second half, they just bombard you with crosses. You know, they put so many balls in the box that make it difficult to defend against. And I think McInnes is a very good manager. Again, I think we said start of the season or early in the season, we were surprised that McInnes got that new contract. Well, he deserves it because he's done a brilliant job at Killie, and to take them into Europe would just be the icing on the cake. And I think St Mirren, again, have had a great season as well. I think, honestly, if they get European football, it would be absolutely fantastic. And I hope they do, because, again, they deserve it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Let's move on to a big game, Graham, where one team's away, but obviously when when the pressure's off, they might win the game. But it's a 6-pointer. That's one you would say, or even I would go as far as to say 9 points. Wow, because there's a few games left. Livingston against St Johnstone, Graham.
Yeah, I think Livingston might win this because there's no pressure on them. You know, they're down, they can relax, all the pressure's off. This is a massive game for St Johnstone. I don't think this big game St Johnstone fans are looking forward to. Going to a team that's already relegated, nothing to play for, this is a dangerous game for them. I mean, I looked up earlier on. How many goals do you think St Johnstone have scored in the league this season?
Yeah, lucky if it was about 9. I'm going to hazard a guess, yeah, right, 19.
25. They scored 25 all season in the league. And that is why they look like they're going to go down. They just don't score enough goals.
No.
I mean, I think I saw a stat a couple of days ago. I think I might have mentioned this last week as well, actually. There was a stat that Stephen McLean has got a better record than Craig Levein has. I mean, I've said it so many times before, they should never have sacked Callum Davidson, who's done a decent job at Queen's Park. Craig Levein's come in, and I know that Alistair is not overly enamoured by him, and I get it. He just doesn't. Craig Levein's never been the type of manager to play expansive football. That's not his style. He's very defensive. They have to start being more open because they're going to have to start scoring goals, or they're going to go in that relegation playoff. I don't see it starting tomorrow, though. I don't see where the goals are coming from. Again, last week against Aberdeen, I thought the highlights that I saw, they were okay, but never looked a real threat. This is a big game for them tomorrow. They have to win this. And I just don't see where the goals are coming from.
I think you might be right, Graham. I think St Johnstone would rather the games at home, because if they go to there in the Plaskett Park, Livingston's not get anything to play for. Basically, Livingston's season is over. You know, well, they're just seeing it the last few games, but they've got nothing to lose their way anyway. So this is going to be a tricky game on a surface tomorrow that it's not been raining for the past couple of weeks or the past couple of days even. So it might be a bit tricky, this game.
Yeah, I think you should be wary of a team that's got nothing to play for, because they can play with freedom. You know, they know they're down. I think this is a very difficult game for St Johnstone tomorrow. I mean, Livingston, the last home game I think they won against Ross County, who had something to play for. It's the same tomorrow against St Johnstone side that's got everything to play for. I wonder how Levein's going to approach this game. They have got to start scoring goals, or else they're in big, big trouble. And like I said, they've got that massive game on Wednesday against Ross County, which is going to be absolutely huge. If they go to Livingston tomorrow and get beat, and St Johnstone beat Motherwell tomorrow, Ross County beat Motherwell tomorrow, it could be all over. Again, St Johnstone had such a strange season, because at times they've looked all right, and then other times they look so poor. And Alistair's the man for that. He knows how bad they've been because he's watched them all season. But they don't play good football. They're a very dull side to watch. Now, if you're getting results, you maybe don't care, but they're not even getting that. You know, they just look a very poor side. And the way that Craig Levein comes across, I heard his interview last week, and he tried to be positive, but he already sounds like he's defeated. It sounds to me like he's thinking, yeah, this is done. We're going down. That's what it sounds like.
Some guy actually said on the radio last week, Graham, that he might be interviewing himself on Saturday in the morning soon.
That was Michael Stewart. I mean, I don't know why they ask him about Craig Levein on stuff, because he's always going to have that opinion that he doesn't like him anyway. There's no point in asking him. But I mean, it's quite good, because I've listened to that before, and he did actually say numerous times, I might be the next one that's in this. So he just, I like Levein. You know, and it was at Hearts the first time I liked him. He's a decent guy. He comes across quite well. But he's just, when he took the job, I thought, that's a good appointment. I thought it's stability. He'll get St Johnstone up. But I've not seen anything that suggests they're going to stay up. They look so poor. I think their best player is Graham Carey, for me. They don't have enough up front. I think the lad just said DB looks all right, but he doesn't score enough goals. Stevie May, again, is a decent player, but I don't think he's played that much. Nicky Clark barely featured. I just don't see him scoring enough goals. And I genuinely think if they were to go 1-0 down tomorrow, I think the game will be done, because I don't see them scoring 2 goals.
I know that I might sound like a broken old record here, Graham, but it wasn't that long ago that you mentioned Cam Davison. He won the double. He got them into Europe, and then Craig Levein, it's the total opposite.
It is. I mean, I listen to Callum Davidson, and he does come across like very one-paced, but I like his interviews. And I think he's a decent guy. He's done well at Queen's Park. You know, he's done a really good job at Queen's Park. And he must be looking at it as a Johnson job now, thinking, I would have kept them up, no problem. I would have got them at least 9th, 8th, or 9th. But Levein's just got that he's got that personality. You just don't know what to expect from him. And his size play is exactly the same. Like, if I was a St Johnstone fan watching that, I'd be bored rigid. And I know that Alistair is, because he's mentioned it before. There's no... See, if you get beat, there's a way to get beat. If you can watch your team having a go and thinking, do you know what, we got beat, but do you know what, it wasn't actually a bad game. But every game, St Johnstone just looks so dull, so predictable, so one pace, so boring. And that's a living team. I don't even think the players look like they're enjoying it. And tomorrow's not a place you want to go to pick up points. It really isn't.
We might be harsh in speaking about this too early, Graham, as well. But and obviously we will get to speak to about St Johnstone, because I think they might be in the playoff. In fact, they will be in the playoffs as well. But you were saying about St Johnstone taking a big risk on Craig Levein coming in. But I mean, to me, if Alistair was here, I would be asking him the same question. But to me, it was a bit weird, that appointment, because it was a bit left field. Like, he's been out the game for so many years. And okay, like, if he was out the game for like 2 months, 3 months, maybe a year, you would say, well, he wasn't out the game that long. But to be out the game for that length of time, to come back in to the game, that was a big risk.
I'll be honest, when Stephen McLean got sacked and all the names were getting read out about who could take over, I never even once thought about Craig Levein. Not once. No. I thought he's not managed for a long. He's not managed for a while now. He's obviously very, he's got his own podcast and stuff. I never even thought about him as manager. He was at Brecon as well with Andy Kirk, kind of in the backroom staff. I did not even think Craig Levein for a Premier League job. And when he got the job, I thought, okay, it's a strange one, but he's got experience. He might be able to do something at St Johnstone. What surprised me, and Alistair mentioned this last time as well, what surprised me is a 3-year contract he got. I didn't think he would get that. I didn't think he would get that long. A year, maybe, even like a year rolling contract, but not a 3-year deal. And for me, if St Johnstone go down, is he really going to stay? I don't see it. I think he'll be off. Whether he leaves on his own accord, whether St Johnstone sack him, but it felt like he would get the club stabilised. It didn't really work under Stephen McLean, which is fine.
And to be honest, get started well, Graham, the first couple of games, and then it went downhill.
I thought there was better younger managers out there they could have gone for, rather than going to Craig Levein. We know what Craig Levein is. We know what his style of football is. And I think there was better managers out there that they could have got. But obviously, St Johnstone have thought, right, we need a bit of stability here. We need to try and keep ourselves up. We'll bring in a guy that knows the league, is experienced. And it's not worked. It really hasn't worked. And performances, like I said, are so, so poor. I mean, I've watched St Johnstone a few times this season. I just think, I don't see what Levein's trying to do here. And I think, actually, to be fair, Alistair mentioned it as well. It looks like their game plan is get the ball at the back, punt it over the top to Sidibe, who's got a pace, and hope he does something. That's not great, and it's not worked. It really hasn't worked.
Hit and hope, you would call that, Graham. And I know that we're going to speak about Airdrie in a minute against Packet Thistle in the playoffs tonight. But would you maybe take a punt? Obviously, it's a bit late now. Craig Levein's there, and the rest is history. But would you really take a punt on Rhys McCabe in terms of and I know he's not experienced a lot, but he's got Airdrie maybe 90 minutes away from the Premiership. The next round of the playoffs.
Words you won't hear a lot on this podcast. Michael's just made a really good point. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Thank you.
That's all right.
Good night.
I actually think Rhys McCabe's a great shout. I really like the way he plays. We played him in the Scottish Cup this season, and even though they were 3-0 down at the time, I liked his philosophy. He wanted to try and keep playing from the back. He didn't change the way he wanted to play. He's got Airdrie in a playoff, although I think they might just fall short tonight. But I think he's a very, very good young player manager. I think he would do a really good job at St Johnstone. If I'm a St Johnstone fan right now, I would definitely rather have Rhys McCabe over Craig Levein. I mean, Craig Levein is very old-fashioned manager. He's very old school. I like the way that Rhys McCabe plays. I think he's a very, very good manager. Even like say Chris Doolan at Partick Thistle. I think
yeah.
there's a lot of good young managers out there that could do a better job than what Craig Levine's doing.
I've been waiting for Grim to say that for about 2 years now. So there we go. It's a full moon tonight, I think it is. And Scotland's got to qualify for the final of the Euros. You've heard it here first. No, I'm on okay. Okay, let's go and do the last game. I'm getting carried away here. Let's move on to the last game of the weekend, Graham. It's on Sunday, and this game really means nothing, you would say. Hibs against Aberdeen, and I think from an Aberdeen point of view, second season in the bottom six, and they kind of embarrassed themselves in a way. Would you say that Aberdeen would want the season to be finished 4 weeks ago?
This is why I don't like the split, because if you look at the league table, you've got Dundee sitting 6th on 41 points and Hibs sitting 7th on 42 points. The team in 7th has got more points than the team in 6th. I really don't like the split. But yeah, I think both teams should be not embarrassed, but they should be disappointed with how the season's gone. You know, again, at the start of the season, like I said about Dundee, I don't think anybody would have thought Hibs and Aberdeen would be in the bottom six. You know, Hibs against Aberdeen on Sunday, you think, is a massive, massive fixture. That's like a top 3, top 4 fixture. And it's a bottom 6 fixture. That means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
They're not going to get relegated. They can't get top 6. There's nothing in this game at all. I mean, it's been such a poor season for both teams, but especially Aberdeen. You know, I think they've had so many disappointments, and I think we talked about it numerous times before, but what should be embarrassing for Aberdeen is the Neil Warnock situation. That's the embarrassment. Bringing him in for 8 games was an absolute waste of time. They should have just kept hold of what they had, or even just given the job to Peter Levan in the first place. To bring in Neil Warnock, who, and you've mentioned it before as well, didn't know anything about Scottish football. You know, he always wanted to manage in Scotland, but he never got the chance. And it felt like at the time, I said at the time, it felt like a holiday for him. He was here for a laugh, and he won 2 games, a game against Bonnyrigg Rose and a game against Kilmarnock, both in the Scottish Cup. He didn't win a league game, and then he went. And it's just, that's the embarrassing thing for Aberdeen if I'm an Aberdeen fan. It should never have happened in the first place. Dave Cormack clearly thought, right, let's get a big name in here, and it just didn't work. They had a really poor season. I spoke about it previously. Europe, I thought they were decent. Played a lot of decent games in there. But the league form's been so poor. But I have to say as well, I think Peter Levan's done a really good job. Yeah. Jimmy Thiel, when he comes in from Sweden, has got a big job on his hands. I think they might keep Miovski, which is good news. But for me, the biggest embarrassment is Neil Warnock. That was an absolute joke of an appointment.
And now you know how people treat Scottish football south of the border, Graham. What about your neighbours, Hibs, tomorrow and Sunday?
Again, I don't think they should sack Nick Montgomery, and that's not being funny and saying, nah, keep him because he's awful. I think he needs more time. He needs to get a proper window in the summer. He'll have the money coming in from Bill Foley. How much that's going to be, I don't know. They will lose a few players because Malouda is on loan. I think he's been outstanding. Marcondes has been decent. Obita's been good. I think they need a couple of decent defenders, though. They are losing Lewis Stevenson and Paul Hanlon, who've been good servants for them, so fair play to them. But again, they've had such an up and down season. At times, they've looked really good. Other times, they've been terrible. Defensively, I think they've been pretty poor. And it's just been a really poor season for them as well. And like I said, Sunday, you're looking at it thinking, oh, what a fixture that could be. But it's a bottom 6 fixture that means nothing. I mean, I'll be interested to see what attendance it's going to be on Sunday, because I can't see many fans going to that game. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. Fans will travel to watch the team, of course they will. But I can't see many Aberdeen fans travelling for that. What's the point? It's a nothing game.
Okay, that's the games of the weekend. Then we'll be keeping his eye not only on tonight's game against Partick Thistle and the Ugly that we're going to talk about. It's a big derby in Glasgow tomorrow, but it's a big derby in Edinburgh tonight. It's Hibs against Hearts. That is a 7:30 kickoff. So let's look at the games tomorrow. On Sunday, sorry. It is for the women's game, I should say Hearts against Hibs against Hearts tonight. Oh, I'm getting mixed up. It's Celtic against Packet Thistle women. Dundee United against Monclose. Spartans against Hamilton. Aberdeen women, as we were talking about Aberdeen against Hibs in the men's game. Well, they're playing Motherwell on Sunday, and Glasgow City against Rangers. And check out the women's FA website for details, because they all kick off at different times. Okay, Graham. One game left on tonight to talk about. We'll get a Packet Thistle on earlier in a minute. There's a few games tomorrow. Just to remind you, it is Hamilton against Alloa. The first leg was 2 each. Inverness against Monclose 0-0 on aggregate. The second leg is tomorrow, and the first leg playoffs is Peterhead, or my favourite bit of the show where it says Peterhead. They're playing Spartans 2-1 to Peterhead from the first leg, and Skirring Albion against Dumbarton. It is 2-1 to Dumbarton after the first leg. Right, Graham, let's get to it then. The big championship playoff second leg. Quarterfinals actually between the Google Packet Thistle and Airdrie. It was not a bad game actually in Tuesday night. Was that? Yeah, Tuesday night, was it? Yeah. 2 each from the first leg, and I think Graham gave the game away early on, where he says Packet Thistle will win tonight.
I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
We talk about Friday night championship games all the time, and to be fair, there've been a lot of decent games, but this one should be a cracker. I just think with it being at Firhill and Packet Thistle getting that draw at Airdrie, I would make Packet Thistle slight favourites for this game. But listen, don't get me wrong. I said it before, I think Airdrie are a really good side. I think Rhys McCabe's done a cracking job. But I think Partick, on the kind of heartbreak of what happened to them last season in that playoff against Ross County, they'll have a bit of a point to prove. They want to get back up there again. And I think the job that they've done there this season has been outstanding. You know, I wasn't surprised United won the league or that Wraith finished second, but I think Partick have been very impressive. And I just think at home, and I think Firhill will be packed tonight as well. Should be a decent atmosphere. And I just fancy Partick to win this just because they're at home. And they got that draw the other day. I think this could be a really, really good game of football.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I'll be interested to see when they play Ross. Going to be Ross County, obviously, but but no, I fancy them to come up with them. They just missed out last season, but I think we've done the show at the time as well. That we were saying on the show that if Packet Thistle won that first leg, the game would have been over.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching it, and Partick had so many chances that first game, and you just think, are they going to rue these missed chances? And unfortunately, they did. You know, even though they got the lead at Ross County, they were out 3-0 up at the time, I think. You're just thinking it's there for them, and they just couldn't get over the line and go into penalties. We did the show when it was penalty kicks, and it's like, I mean, even on a neutral, I felt sorry for Partick, because you're just thinking, what an absolute shame. And that could have really put a downer on them this season. They could have thought about that. But to be fair to them, they've been very good this season. You know, they're right back up there again. If they win tonight, they play Wraith in the playoff, which again is going to be a difficult game because Wraith are a good side this season. And I've said it so many times, the Championship is a great league. And I generally think next season as well, you'll have Livingston in there. Let's say, for example, Wraith come up and St Johnstone go down. You'll have Livingston, St Johnstone, Partick, Airdrie, Dunfermline, Falkirk. What a championship that's going to be next season. I mean, I would not want to be in that championship. It's such a hard league to get out of. But honestly, I think Partick have been excellent this season. Really, really good. Brian Graham, I think, got Player of the Year in the championship, deservedly so. I think he's been outstanding. And this honestly tonight could be an absolutely belter of a game. No Malacot will finish 0-0 and be boring. But no, I think this could be an absolute cracker tonight.
You gave it to Gregor, thanks for watching, and you say I'm sorry I'm late. It's fine, we'll forgive you, but Graham, you always feel a bit of power, don't you, when they say sorry I'm late? It's like, Who cares? You can watch the show back, but only when we're finished, because it's the last 10 minutes, and this is the best 10 minutes of the show. It's not because it's the last 10 minutes, honest. Graham, I wanted to ask your opinion about the playoffs. Right, I think it's well designed, right? First leg, second leg, right? But do you think when it comes to a final, it should be a one-off game?
Yeah, probably. I think it makes more sense to have a one-off game. And I saw somebody else as well saying that these games should be at Hampden, which I don't agree with, because you'd never sell it out. You couldn't have like Raith Rovers against St Johnstone at Hampden. It just wouldn't sell out. But I think a one-off game is probably better. And I think as well, if you look at the overall thing of it as well, it actually should benefit the Premier League team, because the second leg's at their ground. So it should really benefit them. I would like it to be a neutral venue and be a one-off game. But I understand why they don't do it like that. But I think it should probably be a one-off game.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, no, they would never fill out Hampden. No disrespect to any of the fans and any of the teams, but there should actually be a cup at the end of it as well. I'm thinking about the English Football League, that wee small championship, you know, the one I'm talking about down south, and they play at Wembley. And okay, they've got more money and a bigger budget and all that, but we should do it the same, because I mean, that's like saying this year's Champions League final will be over 2 legs.
Yeah, they would. It's Scottish football. They would never do that. Let's be honest, that would never happen. But I would actually prefer it was one game. I think it just makes more sense rather than having 2 legs, because, like I said, it does benefit the Premier League side.
No, exactly as well. Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting game tonight. I know we were talking about Airdrie, Reece McCabe. She's had a brilliant season, but I think if they don't win tonight, I think Reece McCabe will be satisfied with, you know, because I mean, it's still been a good season no matter what's happened. You know, I mean, I know they get beat for Hearts in the Scottish Cup. But they had a big payday against Hearts in the Scottish Cup, and the TV cameras were there as well.
Yeah, I've said it before. I think Reece McCabe's done a fantastic job. And if they don't manage to get through the playoffs, I think he'll just use it as motivation for next season, if he's there. Because I think he's destined for bigger things than Airdrie. No disrespect to Airdrie. But I think McCabe's done a brilliant job. Like I said, I like the fact he's got a philosophy and he doesn't change. He wants his teams to play from the back. He wants teams to play attacking football. And I like that, and it brings your point earlier about the St Johnstone job. He's the kind of manager I would want. You know, I like the fact that he doesn't change no matter what happens. And I think tonight, I just think it might be a step too far. You know, I think Firhill's a very difficult place to go. And the fact that Partick did get that draw, and now they're at home, I can just see Partick getting the job done tonight. But no matter what happens, Airdrie have had a very, very good season. And they'll be back again next season. I've got no doubt about that.
Anna Lynn was saying in the chat that the Buddies just could edge it against tomorrow as well. Graham, I know we always keep going on about fan bases as well, and especially with me, I get a ripping, you would say sometimes in the group chat. I don't know who by, but see if you put all the teams in the bottom tier, like St Johnstone, Ross County, not even counting Livingston because they're away, but obviously in this situation you would. But see the teams that's in the playoffs, like Packet Thistle, even Airdrie, Raith Rovers, they've all got, I think they would all add something to the league because they've got bigger fan bases.
Yeah, they would, and this is why I've said for so long I would like to see the league extended to 18 teams, and they should have done this years ago. I just think bringing teams like, well, obviously United coming up, Raith, Partick, Airdrie, teams like that would make a much better league, and the fan bases are far, far better than some of the teams in Scotland. I mean, Livingston, for example, I mean, I've said it so many times about them, they just don't have the fan base. They never have. You see buses leaving to go to Celtic Park and Ibrox when you've got Livingston right on your doorstep. I get it, but it is a shame. It really is. I mean, I've been to Partick Thistle a few times, It's a really nice wee ground.
Nice
Firehill's
man.
Firehill's a really nice wee ground, actually. I quite like going there. I was there with my local team, Pennycook, for a Scottish Cup game, and it was a really, really good game, actually. Good atmosphere. So, these teams would definitely benefit being in the Premier League, but they had the chance to do it during COVID. They had the chance to extend the league and didn't do it. It'll never happen now, and it's a shame.
I think the only thing Firhill was missing, Graham, is that stand being the goal. And that would be a decent wee ski game. I mean, it is a good ski game, and I suppose when you're coming from the other side of the world, we would say in Glasgow, it's just off the motorway as well, so it's kind of like easy access as well. I made this point a few weeks ago as well. Again, we won together, but we're back together, so I'm happy to make them. The Livingston's away, right? But do you think that I know this is a weird comment I'm going to say here, right? But I think you'll get what I mean here. Do you think like Livingston, and if Livingston fans are watching, this is only me saying this, right? So don't believe anything I say, right? Because it's total tosh the would say. But do you think that Livingston will go part-time next season?
I don't think so. But the issue that I would have, and I've said this for a few people as well, I think Livingston could be in the Championship for a while. I don't think they'll come straight back up. Now, I know that David Martindale has a lot of say. He's also got shares in the club, so I don't see him leaving. And I think he has basically said he's going to be loyal to Livingston, which is good. That's fine. But I can see a lot of players leaving Livingston. And they're going to have to try and bring other players in. But I honestly think Livingston could be in the league for a while. I don't think they'll go to League One, but I think they could be in the Championship for 3 or 4 seasons. Because like I said, that is so competitive. It is such a hard league to get out of. And like I just mentioned, the teams that could be in there next season, that is going to be so hard to get out of. And I just think, I mean, I'm kind of glad in a way that Livingston are going. No disrespect to them at all. It's basically because of that plastic pitch. I've said it so many times before. I don't like plastic pitches in the Premier League. I think they should be in the lower leagues, that's fine, but not the Premier League. And Livingston's one's not great either. It doesn't look a particularly great surface either. So I'm not gutted that they're going to go down, although I do like them as a club. I think they're a decent wee club. But I genuinely think they're going to struggle in the Championship. I think they could be there for a while.
I know that football fans are very fickle sometimes, and they say, "Oh, he's very old and he's past it and all that." But I mean, you just have to look at Brian Graham. They won the Championship Player of the Year. You would certainly put James Forrest into that category and Craig Gordon. But I think that the three of them put together, Graham, even though that people might say, "Oh, well, the past it and all that." But you know what you're going to get with the guys. I mean, look at James Forrest the other week. He came on against Dundee, scored an absolute belt for a goal as well. And Craig Gordon's came back and he's pulled out some good saves, albeit it's been in the Scottish Cup this season.
You can't beat experience. You just cannot beat experience. And these guys went in the block. They actually, as well, talk about Craig Gordon and the injuries he's had, they actually keep themselves very fit.
That's why me and you together every week, them.
Oh, of course.
Can't beat experience.
They clearly eat the right foods. They clearly keep themselves fit, and you can't beat that. And that's why a guy like Brian Graham's got the Player of the Year, because he's done very well. And I think if you'd said weeks ago that James Forrest would be a big player for Celtic in the last few weeks, a lot of Celtic fans might have laughed at you. But he's been very impressive, and I think that's why a lot of folk have said as well that James Forrest should be on the Player of the Year. Whether it is, I don't know, but it might be.
Yep, I would agree with you in terms of we work well together. But when you say they've got to eat well, I was like that. Well, that's certainly not me. Anyway, but yeah, James Forrest might be on this plane to Germany, because I did hear a wee exclusive for the show, Graham, because we all like exclusive. There's a Scotland scout going to the game tomorrow to watch James Forrest, so that must mean he is halfway there as well. We are halfway out of here because we are away now. We'll be back on Sunday with Graham, and I think Alaska's joining you on Sunday to look back at the weekend's action and keeping you right up to date with the Hibs Aberdeen game. I'm sure Graham would love to talk about Hibs and the women's football. So have a nice weekend. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all your comments, and we'll do it all again 3 o'clock here live, Independence Live on Sunday.